Namaste everyone here at booktube. Welcome to my channel Hamsavahini Vajra Astra. I'm Ahuna. Today's video is going to be a wrap-up for one of the readathons which was held in September, which I really enjoyed, and that was Magical September. And I had put together this readathon. It comprised of about 13 challenges, and all we had to do was read from the genre of magic and mysticism, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading for this particular readathon. Now, I had done some book reviews of the books which I read for this readathon, and they were absolutely fantastic, so I could not help myself but do book reviews on them. And I have posted most of the links of the book reviews in this video as well, so that in case if you're curious, you can definitely check the links and it will take you to the respective book review. Now, let's come down to the challenges. So the first challenge was to read any childhood favorite of the magical or the mystical genre. So anything from your childhood genre, which was or any of the books which you loved in your childhood, which was of the magical or the mystical genre. So for this, I chose to read Enid Blyton's The Magic Faraway Tree series. This has been one of my all-time favorites from Enid Blyton, and the other series which is my favorite is The Wishing Chair. And but for this readathon, I did read the Magic Faraway Tree series, and I did complete the first part of this book. It is a trilogy. The first book is The Enchanted Wood, the second is The Magic Faraway Tree, and the third is The Folk of the Magic Faraway Tree. And I managed to read the first part, which is the magic, it is The Enchanted Wood, and I really loved exploring my childhood favorite again. And the The Enchanted Wood is about these three sibling children who arrive at the countryside, and they chance to arrive upon a enchanted wood which has trees which talk to each other, and there are magical creatures like pixies and gnomes living in it. And at the heart of it all, there is a huge tree which is called the Magic Faraway Tree. Now, the peculiar thing is that this tree grows different fruits at different levels, and there are lots of people who are staying inside the trunk of this tree comfortably, and lots of magical creatures, that is. So there are fairies, and there are dames, and there are people from other lands or different lands. And right at the top of this tree, there is a land. It's like a rotating table. So there's a land which comes at the top of the tree, and you can climb this tree and go and visit a land, which could be convenient and it could be inconvenient. So it's all about these three children climbing the tree and finding their adventures in whichever land comes at the top. So I really enjoyed revisiting that part where I had enjoyed reading this particular book. So that was a book which I chose for my childhood favorite of the magical or the mystical genre. Now, the second challenge was to read any magical or mystical novel by an author of your country, and my country is India. So I chose to read a recent book which has been written by Shona Gupta, The Mermaid's Herb. And the interesting thing is that Shona Gupta is a middle grader. Now, this falls under the middle grade fantasy fiction genre, and I really love this book. I've also done a book review for this particular book, so I won't divulge much of the story because I do have a habit of rambling, and without rambling anything at all, I'd just like to mention that this book is about an orphan boy called WSS, who is from Nairobi. He was orphaned at a very early age, and he has magical powers, and he is approached by a girl called Grace. And Grace has Grace has issues, and she is tormented by a mad scientist who has kidnapped her parents. And the scientist is actually obsessed about an experiment where he wants to revive the dead. So he wants to kill his prisoners and then revive them again. So the quest for the Mermaid's Herb, which is supposed to be a magical herb which not only rejuvenates but heals, is what is pursued by WSS and Grace. And there is also a third element of surprise, which is Bella, who is supposed to be a dinosaur living at this age, and with the powers, or the magical powers of WSS, she is concealed by being reduced to a toy, and the entire journey is about the pursuit of the Mermaid's Herb and what it brings along. So this has been a very wonderful read. In case if you would like to know more, you can definitely check my book review. I have posted a link in the description box below to the video in which I have made the book review. So let's come down to the third challenge. Now the third challenge is to read any magical or mystical novel by an author of a different country. So for this I had chosen The Train to Impossible Places by P.G.Bell. P.G.Bell is from south of Wales, and I had also coupled this book with another readathon. So I really enjoyed this book, and this is all about magic and physics, which is also called as physics, and I have done a book review on this as well. I will post a link in the description box below for this particular book review. Also, the story is about this girl called Susie, who finds herself in a magical train to the troll world, which belongs to a different dimension altogether, and her dimension is just being used to reroute this troll train by using troll magic, which is physics. That's physics and magic, and it's all about how Susie tries to save the troll world as well as the Union of Impossible Places, to which this particular train belongs to, because it seems that there is a dark secret which is present in the Union of Impossible Places, and there is a cursed snow globe or a cursed frog which is stuck in a speaking snow globe, and how they're all interrelated, and how Susie has to help to break the curse, and the entire mystery and the adventure and the fun and the magic which surrounds it all. So all of this is all power-packed in this vibrant little book, and in case if you would like to know more, either you read the book or you can definitely check the book review. So the next challenge was to read any non-fiction book about mythology, myth or magic. So for this particular challenge, I chose to read The Fairy Bible by Teresa Bore. Now this is a wonderful book. I really loved it, and as you can see, the illustrations of this book are beautiful. It's all basically about fairy spirituality on the fairy path. So those who pursue the fairy wicca, as they call it, or you can have just a fairy path, definitely, or a magical path, definitely can use this book for their path, because it does give a lot of information. They can use it for a reference book, so as to stress upon it, and it does give and enlighten and illuminate about the different magical creatures which are present in nature, which we are not aware of. So I learned a lot from this book and I really enjoyed it. So this was my choice for challenge number 4. Now for challenge number 5 was to read any non-fiction book about mysticism and magic. So I did choose this book because there was a lot of meditative practices which were also given. There was also a lot about the magic which these beings help with, so it did encompass magic and mysticism in it. And the 6th challenge was to read any fiction or non-fiction book about mythical beings and creatures. So this was the best book that I could find in it, because it's packed with earth fairies and water fairies and fire fairies and dragons and lots of mythical creatures which I really enjoyed. So mythical beings and creatures, yes. So I used this book for 3 prompts of this particular readathon. Now challenge number 7 was to read any traditional folklore stories of any country. So for this particular challenge, I chose to read this book, which was Chinese Fairy Tales and Legends. Now I've also done a book review on this, and I had used this book for another readathon which happened to happen in the later part of September, which I really loved, and also in another readathon which was commencing in September. So basically this book was for 3 readathons, and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of folklore from the Chinese culture, and a lot of them do I would say overlap and interlap with the mythologies of the Indian legends, which I really loved, and I have done a complete book review on this, and I will post a link in the description box below to the book review for this particular book. So do please check out that book review in case if you're interested to know what's this book about. So that brings us to the 8th challenge, which was to read any retelling of a fairy tale. Now for this, I chose to read Neil Gaiman's The Sleeper and the Spindle. As you can see, it's a beautifully illustrated book, and it has won the winner. It was the winner of the Kate Greenaway medal, and I'll just show you. This illustration was also beautiful. I was planning to read this for Gothtober as well, but then I said probably I had too many books for the Gothtober challenge, which is being held this October. So as you can see, the illustration is beautiful. It's actually the story of Snow White as well as Sleeping Beauty all together, and the illustrations which were in this book were amazing, and it's a retelling of the story, and I really loved the twist in all the tales, or both the tales as I say, and the end of it is quite interesting. So here is one of the illustrations that I loved. So this is the protagonist. Now I'm not going to say who it is, but it's the protagonist, and this is what she finds when she reaches a castle. So it's been a beautiful book, and I would definitely recommend this book for anybody who wants to have a retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Sleeping Beauty, and also are into looking at artwork. So this was really, it's Gothic artwork, and it's ink artwork, but it's absolutely fantastic. So the next challenge was to read any novel about magical men or magical women. So for this, I read Magical Women, and this is an anthology which has been written by various writers, and it's absolutely superb. It has been edited by I believe Sukanya Venkataraghavan, and I have also posted a book review to this particular book, and you can definitely check the link which is given in the description box below in case if you would like to know more about it. And it's actually a complete anthology of feminist tales, and there are mythic beings in it, and it has a futuristic twist to it as well. So I really had a fantastic time reading this particular book. So please do check the book review on it. It is I have tried my very best to give as much of overview or an idea without divulging too much into the book, because I have not mentioned about all the stories, but I've mentioned a few which I really liked and the one which I liked the most. So please check the book review for this. Now the next challenge was to read any unfinished novel from your book collection. So unfortunately I had none, so I never really attempted. This was actually invalid for me. Now the next challenge was to read a mythological graphic novel. So I did not read a mythological graphic novel, but I did read, I did consider this because there's a lot of graphic arts in it, so it's almost like a graphical novel. Of course, it's all about magic, and who knows, it might be mythological as well, because we have the Western fairy tales, as I would like to put it, full of Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and Sleeping Beauty. So there might be some mythology to it as well, or some mysticism associated with it. Now, the next challenge was to watch a retelling of a fairy tale. So for this, I wanted to watch Tangled, which is a retelling of Rapunzel, but unfortunately I could not watch it because I was busy doing other readathons. And the last challenge was to watch any web series of magic and myth, and for this I chose to watch Legend of the White Snake, which is there or available on Netflix. It's absolutely wonderful. It's about these two sisters, or this one snake who cultivates and becomes, that is a spiritual cultivation, and becomes a human being. She comes down to earth, falls in love with a doctor, and how it is that they get married against the rules of nature, and the doctor really does not believe in magic or in mythical beings, but then there is a monk who comes along, and how he recognizes this semi-divine being who is actually in true nature a snake, but she's a huge snake, but then she is in a human form, and she's helping the doctor to heal people, and how what pursues or what in between. So this is something which I really loved. I won't give too much of it, or too much I won't spill out the story, but I would definitely recommend anybody who's interested in Chinese fantasy, do please check this movie, which is, or web series, which is Legend of the White Snake. There is a movie on it as well, but I liked the web series better. So those would be the 13 challenges which I completed for this particular readathon. I absolutely loved it, and do let me know which books you really liked after going through the book review. And with this, I'll be wrapping up this video. I'll come back with another wrap-up video, and I'll meet you soon. So thank you for joining me in this video, and have a good reading week ahead, and namaste.